In this series we're showing you how to keep your bike performing at its best. In this video we're going to look at your gear options and how you can tailor them to make your bike work best for you and your riding. We've enlisted Andrew from Cycle Surgery to show us what to do and why it matters.
The human body is most efficient when pedalling within a relatively narrow range. Bikes have gear systems to help you keep within that range, generally anywhere between 50 and 120 revolutions per minute. We're now going to have a quick look at derailleur systems most commonly fitted to road bikes. You've never had more choice in gear systems. You can have 1, 2 or 3 chainrings on the front and anywhere between 8 and 11 sprockets on the rear. The larger the chainring or the smaller the sprocket, the faster you're going to go for any given cadence. Bikes these days are most commonly fitted with a compact chain set. That gives you a 50-tooth outer chainring and a 34 inner tooth chainring. This is most commonly combined with a 1128 cassette, but can be used with anything as big as a 1132, which will give you very low gearing for easy climbing. More competitive riders traditionally have used a double chain set, which would have a 53-39 chain rings, and they would couple that with a more compact cassette to give quicker gear changes, something like this, 1225. More recently, semi-compact chain sets have been introduced. These have 52-36 tooth chain rings and are generally considered a better compromise for fitter riders. If you want really low gears, you need to go for a triple. This is going to give you a much wider range and is generally suitable for climbing and touring. Typically, a road triple chain set would have a 30 tooth inner chain ring, but to really get the most out of your triple chain set, you probably want something like a 26 tooth, such as fitted to this derailleur mountain bike derived chain set. Triple chain sets can be quite difficult to set up, which is why wide range compacts have become so popular recently. But for ultimate simplicity, you can't beat a 1x11 system. You can see it's got a whopping 42 tooth sprocket on the rear, and when fitted with a 44 tooth chainring on the front, can give nearly the same range of gears as a modern compact. The gaps between ratios are bigger, but there is no overlap and you only have one derailleur to worry about. If you want to know more about gears, have a look at the guide at tinyurl.com/road.cc gears. Now we're going to look at how you can customize your gears. The easiest way to change your gears is to change your cassette. You can fit a cassette with a narrower range for quicker, smoother changes pretty much straight away. But if you want to make life a little bit easier when you're climbing and fit a wider range cassette, you may need to consider the capacity of your derailleur. Bikes are commonly fitted with an 1128 cassette, which you can use with a short cage derailleur such as this. If you want to make life a little bit easier for yourself, fit a wider range cassette, something like a 32 tooth sprocket on this one, you will need a derailleur with a longer cage and a larger capacity for handling changes in chain length. To change the cassette, you'll need a cassette lockering tool and a chain whip. First of all, remove the wheel. Once you've got the cassette off, you can use a zip tie to hold it all together so you don't lose any of the sprockets or spacers. The cassette will only fit on one way. If you see, one of the ridges here is narrower than the others. You need to line that up with the sprocket. Slide all the sprockets onto the free hub body and tighten the lock ring in place. On older chain sets such as this one, it's not possible to change between compact and double chain rings as the bolt circle diameters are different. More modern chain sets such as this 4-arm one from Shimano will take different sizes of chain rings. You can swap between compact, semi-compact and double. Unfortunately, the cost of the rings is so prohibitive it may actually be better to replace the chain set as a whole and sell the old one. Here's how to remove and fit a Shimano chain set. First of all, we're going to loosen these 2 pinch bolts and then remove the plastic loading cap. Just flick up the locking tab with a screwdriver and the crank arm will slide off. You may need to give the shaft a tap with a hammer to remove the drive side and just unhook the chain. It should pull out. To fit the new crank, thread the shaft through the frame and slide the shaft through the bearing. Just lifting the chain up out of the way onto the smaller chain ring before pushing the chain set home. And then fit the non-drive side arm, pushing the locking tab home and fit the loading cap. You want to be careful not to tighten this too much as it might stop the bearings from spinning freely. You can then tighten the pinch bolts, taking care to do both sides evenly. When tightening these, you should use a torque wrench so you can follow the manufacturer's recommended torque settings. We now need to adjust the front derailleur to take account of the different size chainring on this chain set. You can see that now that we have a larger chainring, we need to lift the derailleur so that we've got 2 to 3 millimeters clearance. Before reattaching the cable, I'm just going to screw the barrel adjuster back in so I have the full range of movement on it. We now need to reattach the cable at the derailleur end. And we're just going to run through and make sure it's all set up properly. The limit screws shouldn't need adjusting, but always worth checking. You can see we've got about 0.5 millimetre between the chain and the cage down there. And again, we're up on the limit screw, there's no rubbing. If you found this video useful, just hit like and subscribe for more.